Welcome to another great episode of Latin Chamber of Commerce Leaders in Action. And today we are very proud because we know our guest from long time ago. He was young. He's still young. I believe we're getting older, but it's a great asset. It's a great person and a great professional in our community. And now welcome my guest, Maite Salazar.
Yes, so my name is Maite Salazar, and I'm the program director for the LCC Leaders program. It's a very special program that we are very grateful to the Department of Employment, Training, and Rehabilitation for their sponsorship. This would not be possible without that sponsorship, and it's been one of the biggest programs that I've ever worked. I've been doing designing and implementing programs with the Latin Chamber of Commerce, and it's been an absolute honor to do that. But yes, this is one of the biggest programs we have implemented, or at least that I have implemented in the 20 years I've been here. We are in our last set of 8 series of leadership training, entrepreneurship training, or business accelerator training. But today we have a very special guest, Brent Buffone.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very excited. I know that Brent has participated in both the Business Accelerator and the Leadership Program, so he has a unique perspective to share. But because the classes were so large and you didn't really get an opportunity to, I know you interacted, but we didn't get to know you as who Brent is. And so we want to get to know you. Who are you, Brent? What do you do? Why do you do what you do?
Yes. Brent Buffone, or the Buff One. Call me what you want. Just don't call me late for lunch. But yes, I'm an insurance broker. I own my own insurance brokerage called SOAR Financial Group. Soar like an eagle. It's based on the scripture, Isaiah 40. If you wait on the Lord, you will soar on the wings like eagles do. So I've been licensed since 2014, and I became incorporated for my own company in 2022. So it's been 4 years since then, and then it's been a journey. Now that I'm married, I have a daughter. A few years ago, got.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes. So that changed everything for me, for sure. Yes. We bought our home last year in 2025. So we're homeowners here in Vegas. I'm born and raised. So, my wife, she owns her own accounting and tax business here around the corner on 8th Street, downtown Las Vegas. So
Wow.
we're neighbors. I'm inclined to want to speak Spanish, but I know we're going to keep it in English. So yeah, my family has lived here for many years as well. When Tony Shea was here revitalizing all downtown and all of that, it was such a beautiful thing to be a part of, and just seeing everybody grow over the years. And there's always so much to learn. I learned a lot with the Latin Chamber of Commerce, the leadership program, and it's about applying what I learned. And repetition is the father of learning. So, I'm interested in continuing the classes and the journey and sharing that information and reflecting on it with yourself, the other coaches from the program,
Right.
the other leaders that were the students. It's a lot of really good information that we learned.
And let me do a full disclosure because I know him before he became a professional in the insurance industry. And I remember your project. So he has this emprendedor to be a business owner since you were younger. I will say youth, and we're glad to see you how you grow, the personal growth. And that brings my question to you because I know you personally. I know you, and I know your career. How those obstacles in your life, and now you are settled with your marriage. You had a daughter. It's a beautiful thing to have. How you overcome obstacles to be in the place that you are, because I know it's not easy way, and I know and better that it's not easy going, but how you overcome those obstacles?
Thank you. That's a great question, Carlos. There's always obstacles. There's a quote by Marcus Aurelius that says the obstacle is the way, and it's a philosophy to conquer myself, to conquer all evil through abiding love, just to have faith. It's really, at the end of the day, faith, fe, to really walk on that, like walking on water, just staying in contact with God, with Christ for myself. Like, that's really important for me to give me that faith, or having other people around me that are faith oriented, believers, whether it's whatever type of faith, but something where you believe in something that you can't see right now. But we have to strive for that, because that's, I think, what makes life exciting. So, yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting, because I think that leads me to the next question. What makes you and your business unique?
For me, it's my family, my grandparents. They started me off in the insurance business and the insurance world. So I've been doing it 10 years. I speak Spanish. I've done the property and casualty side of things. I've done the life and health side of things. I've worked for various different companies, so I'm able to understand the different carriers and their appetites, how they have, certain willingness to approve or decline somebody. So it's basically like having a pulse on the carriers and being able to shop around. I work with over 30 different carriers, so I'm able to shop. As a broker, I'm agnostic to the carrier for the client. Like, I'm loyal to my clients, not to any one carrier.
Right.
It's very important, because that speaks volumes about the professional you are in your field, because it's true. When we know the insurance, we need to carry insurance, but when you're in business or you need to protect your loved ones, you need to have a professional on your side that really, really advise you what is the best route or the best insurance or how to cover whatever it is you need, because every individual, every citizen has different needs and different businesses needs. So I applaud to that. And I know you are super busy, and we know you are involved with the chamber for a long, long time and different activities, and thank you for that. And how you can find this program? Tell me and why you're interested in this program.
Oh, absolutely. Why I'm interested in the leadership experience program. For me, I think leadership is everything. My whole philosophy on leadership is kind of two-pronged. So number one is self-leadership. I have to lead myself, and then from there you do group leadership, or one-on-one, and then group, right? So working with one other person to be able to influence them. Somebody asked me the other day, because one of my social media posts hit almost 100,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're like, "Hey, are you an influencer?" I'm like, "Everybody's an influencer."
Yes.
If I'm walking down the street and you're on the other side of me, either I'm going to move to the side and let you pass, or you're going to move to the side, right? You can't not be an influence to other people, right? So I think leadership is all about influence. And number one, for myself, when my daughter was 6 months old, and I had this idea to join the United States Air Force Reserves. So I did that for a period of time, came back. Now I only have to go 1 weekend a month. But I'm a weekend warrior now, is what they say. But
and thank you for your service, because it's great.
You're worth it.
Yes,
my pleasure to be of service. It's great, but a big thing for me with entrepreneurship is you get to create your own journey. You get to, if you're an employee and you have a salary and a boss, it's very difficult to navigate that kind of relationship, to ask for time off or things like that. As an entrepreneur, there's a lot more freedom, but it requires a lot more discipline. And that was a big reason for me why I even wanted to go into the Air Force, to learn that discipline. Porque yo soy como águila, with my business, like an eagle. But I have to be obedient, to learn to work in harmony with my business partners, right, or other people. It's easy to, as an entrepreneur, think that you can do whatever you want, but that's not true. You have to be very obedient and follow other people who have been successful, so you can copy and paste that and be a success for yourself. But then eventually you want to create your own path. Number one is following, but then the other side of leadership, I believe, is creating your own path that nobody's been before.
Right.
So for me, it's understanding leadership more, how to work with myself and other people so that I can become better. It's just an infinite journey on how do I become better, right?
And it's so interesting, Brent, that you talk about how we're all influencers. And there was something very special about you in the classes. I really connected with you. And I think, I think the foundation of faith is something that I could see. I could see just in your interaction. You were very engaging throughout the sessions. And I really appreciated that because I think that was influencing others in the class. You were getting other people to engage. So you have this natural leadership ability to engage with people and engage in groups. And so it totally resonates with me what you're saying about, about how important leadership is and how everyone is an influencer. But, not many people are influencers like you. I mean, I saw you in action. I saw you in the group, and you really stood out to me. So I just wanted to give you a kudos for that. I also wanted to ask you, did you have an aha moment? I know that you were very engaged, but was there this one moment in one of the sessions where you said, aha, this is something that I'm going to apply tomorrow or today?
Well, there were many moments like that, Maite. And the other people in the group were very influential to me too, and inspirational, just the way that they conducted themselves in their businesses. And some of them were intrapreneurs, so they were working for other companies here locally in Vegas, and it's just amazing people who were in the group that inspired me. So that was something. But in regards to the curriculum or the content, one thing that really shocked me and woke me up was that the mirror, right? Because they talk about that in, I think, the Robert Kiyosaki book, The Three Powers, like the gold, the sword, and the mirror, like personal power. So like when we did the disc profile, right, to understand myself, and I was speaking with one of the coaches, and he really helped remind me to focus on my strengths, because we can so much of the time try to be something that we're not, right? But it's more so being who we are and surrendering to that and understanding ourselves and things of that nature. So the disc profile was huge for me, for sure.
Well, living in your truth, stepping into your truth,
Absolutely.
And let me tell you about the influencers. Yes, to influencer, for millennials out there, need to understand, to influencer is a lot of work, a lot of study, a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges. And like I said, you serve, you're serving our military, and so all those plus experience and be married and have a kid, those experience make you influencer because you know.
Right.
For those millennials, just sitting in your house, sitting in your couch is not influencer. So that's just one apart.
No, I agree.
Yeah. So I had this.
I think it's about seeking out information, like you said, studying, and sharing that knowledge with others, because it's so easy to get information, but it's a whole different thing to apply information, right? And I think that's something for me, even working in a sales capacity, right? I don't really like to sell somebody, but I love to make it easy for them to buy, right? We all have these defenses up, in life, and as we should. We have to protect ourselves, our heart, our families, right? And it's figuring out how to communicate or influence, right, in a way where people feel comfortable with you, or it's authentic, it's real. It's, as an influencer, if anybody wants to be an influencer, just be yourself. That's the biggest message,
Yeah, but you need to be professional in that.
But you have to be.
Yes, that's my point. Okay, influencers, now you get it.
Well, you could be a good influencer, you could be a bad influence. So,
that's true.
I heard the other day there was this guy who had 5 million views on TikTok because he threw some yogurt in the air and caught it in his mouth, and he was trying to make a business with Chobani or whatever yogurt, and but I think it's interesting because you're right. You want to balance being professional and personal, right? So it's figuring out that balance, which is very critical, I think, and key.
Yeah.
This class for you, let us know, it challenged you to be a better person, better professional, better entrepreneur. Did it challenge you?
I would say so. I would say that, number one, just being in the opportunity to network with other entrepreneurs or business-minded folk who wanted to improve themselves gave opportunities for business to happen. number one, but also the curriculum, the content of what they were teaching, especially one of the lessons I missed, and I wish I could go back and learn it again whenever it happens again. But there was one particular lesson which was related towards finances, okay. And it was about how just raising your price of what you sell by 1%, right, can change everything, like a 33% overall net profit on your business. I can't do that because I don't change the rates with the insurance companies. Right. But I mean, for myself, I'm always looking how to, cross-sell, upsell, or just think differently about how I'm approaching my business. I've been telling my wife for a long time to increase her price by 1%, and how much, because the coach broke it down, how that 1% increase across a number of clients overall creates a 30% net revenue of increase in profit. I was like, that's mind-blowing, because people who are entrepreneurs or salespeople or selling a product or service, you have that aspect of most people that get caught up 75% of the day or 90% of the day, they're just trying to sell and get new clients. But it's like, okay, you got to take at least 25% of your day to give service to your existing book of business, your existing clients, or you have to work with somebody else that can serve them. You can't just be always trying to get new clients. You got to figure out, how can I offer more value to my current clients, right? And if you're offering more value, then yes, you should be able to increase your prices, right? So for me, that's what I'm always considering. How do I offer more value? And that leads into more cross-sale opportunities to help them. But for another person like my wife, I was just like, hey, when are you going to increase your prices by 1%? And that was something that really laid out a big foundation for me. And when we talk about faith, or this bridge of faith on where I want to get to in my next level, like having those proper financial reports in place, and reaching out to the different resources for banking, so I can take those next steps to invest further in my business, is so important. And I really appreciate how you guys in the Latin Chamber, the leadership program, really made it very clear for us to see that. And, that's a really important goal for me.
And that was in the Business Accelerator series. That was Michelle Berry, and she presented the power of one. And I was worried that people weren't going to show up to that class, because a lot of people, they shy away from finances. They think, oh my gosh, I'm not going to understand. It's math, or it's financial statements, and that's complicated. But she did present it in such a way that was so practical. And that power of one worksheet or she used that tool where she showed where some people are trying to do discounts because they think that volume is going to generate higher revenue. But, she showed how just increasing the prices by 1% or decreasing something, or, how it impacted your bottom line. And it was just such a revelation. I think that was an aha moment for myself as well. So, and that was the next question, like, was there a session? And you're not the only one. I think many of the people mentioned that class as like, wow, that was a powerful class, because, it was laid out in a way where it was this formula, and you just plug in a number and it automatically will tell you how it affects your bottom line, even collecting sooner. Because sometimes, you want to give people 30 days to pay, or you want to give them a discount to pay sooner, but that may not be the best way, so it was just very interesting, and I'm glad that you brought it up, because that power of one was powerful.
Yeah, there's so much financial hacks to learn. I like studying some numbers in regards to insurance and interest rates and things like that, with a lot of my clients that I help out with, whether it be Medicare or auto insurance, life insurance. The number is always the bottom line, right, matters. And getting people to think about how over time, right, because that time element to numbers changes everything, right? That's the difference between simple interest or compounding interest. And there's so much more to learn.
Right.
But that was a great lesson for sure.
Yep.
Yes, and in regards to that and your experience, one mentor or class impact you the most?
I think his name was Kenneth?
Or Ted.
Ted. Yeah, Ted. When I spoke with Ted, I was driving to California and we were on the phone, and I promise you I was like literally in tears.
Wow.
Sincerely, just because how he was reflecting it back to me, it made me feel so empowered. It was just the results from my DISC assessment, and it was like, look at this is who you are, like, and it was just so empowering, like, you know, to see that side of me, to step into that side of me, and like, you know, it's really important to remember that, because I guess just, you know, this whole world, it feels like sometimes everything is like against you almost, you know, and it's like to have somebody who was completely for you, you know, in that moment, and showing you like just this beautiful side of yourself, like, look at this is who you are, like, be that person. And, you know, we have all these excuses or explanations of why we can't be that person, or why, you know, we're, you know, it's just an excuse or an explanation. We try to explain ourselves away towards why we can't be that, but the truth is that's who I am, you know, at my core. And it was just a refresh reminder, like, to speak with him and talk with him. And I would like to, you know, continue that kind of coaching with, you know, somebody who can see that side of me, because you have to really convince yourself of who you're becoming or who you are, you know, so that you can step into higher levels of being.
Yep. You know, and Ted was very good at explaining how important it was, because a lot of times when you got a lot of people that when they get the results, the first thing they go to are the negatives. Like, oh, I'm weak on this. I'm weak. What does this mean? Why am I weak? You know, how can I improve on that? But he helps you understand to embrace your strengths and focus on that. Don't worry so much. Be aware of your weaknesses, but don't focus on that. I mean, of course, you know, if you're a mean boss and you don't know how to be patient or respond appropriately, well, you become more aware and you understand, and, you know, you understand that people think differently and may not jump when you say jump, because it takes them a little time to process. And so he helps you not only discover yourself, but discover yourself, how you're so unique and different from everyone else. So, and how to embrace that person that you are. So it's really great that you mentioned Ted. A couple of people mentioned that experience. And so that's why I'm glad that you took advantage of reaching out to him, because not everyone took advantage of reaching out to the coaches, even though we've emphasized and stressed, like, reach out to the coaches, you know?
It's so important, because you get this DISC assessment that's 30 pages or whatever, and, you know, somebody might want to read through all of it with a fine comb, tooth, and nail. Yeah. But it's like, for me, when I'm talking to somebody about an insurance policy, is like, I'm going to tell you exactly where to look and what's the key information to look at. Same thing when I talked to Ted. He told me exactly where to look and the key information, right? Yeah. So, yeah, if you did not reach out to the coaches and get that one-on-one, you really missed out. You know, it's a huge asset that you guys had this program with Dieter, and I'm really grateful.
Yeah. Well, how do you see this shaping your future? How do you see everything that you learned shaping or changing how you do things in the future?
Absolutely. So I really appreciate you, Mike, that you had sent me the resources, the banks that the Latin Chamber works with. And as I mentioned previously, that's one of my main goals for this year, is getting all my profit and loss dialed in for the last 3 years so I can approach them for getting a business loan for myself. And that made it really clear in the profit class that talked about that. But besides that, just, again, putting it, repetition is the father of learning, the mother of all skills. So, like, repeating this information where it becomes, you know, very clear to me, where it's, I don't have to second guess it, right? Where it's a mastery over this kind of information, I think, you know, moving forward, because it opened myself up to understanding myself and how I communicate with others in a different way. But it's remembering that, you know, on a daily basis, on a monthly, quarterly, yearly basis, we have to refresh ourselves, right? You don't just take a bath every other day. You got to do it once a day, you know, it's to stay.
Well, there are some people.
Some people. Just kidding. But ultimately, I think just practicing that communication style,
Yep.
asking more questions, leading by asking questions.
Yep.
That was another thing that was an aha moment.
That was a great exercise.
Great exercise,
Yep.
just asking more questions. And I'm pretty good at that. I love to learn about people, but it's balancing, because sometimes I get caught up where I'm not asking enough questions. And when you're talking or somebody's talking, I'm thinking on how to answer.
Right.
But it's a really delicate balance
Yeah.
and understanding how to communicate with others. So that's how I plan to put it into practice. Remember and just practice.
And also to make the right questions. And now that
Yes.
you know your personality as a business owner, because as a business owner, your ideas push for more business, and sometimes you forgot you had a team behind you, and you're just pushing, and then it's about, you learn with the time, it's about pushing, but not yourself. Now you have a team. You need to delegate, ask the right question to them, and also ask them ideas in order to support your leadership. And so I'm grateful you learned that. And like I tell to the audience, we know you, and we're very proud of what you're doing in your career. And we see our future in you, not these millennials influencers, but we see the future, and we see the better community in the future, thanks to individuals and professionals like you are. And based on your experience with this leadership, Leaders in Action class, the Latin Chamber of Commerce, do you recommend this class to others?
Yes, absolutely. I recommend this class to others, hands down. It's a great investment in yourself. It's a great investment that the Latin Chamber is doing in the community. I would like to, continue to connect with those members from the class and continue these kind of conversations, because it's so easy to forget until you keep having the conversation, keep studying. Like I remember the DISC is decisive. I always forget the I, what it stands for.
It's the people person.
I know S
yeah.
is stable and
Stable
C is
and
cautious.
C, yeah.
Right? Because those people are like the opposite of me.
The I is inspirational.
Is
It's
it?
It's that people person.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for me, I was like high D, and everything was like step down from there. But ultimately, I highly recommend this course or any type of course that's going to help you learn more about yourself and your strengths-based learning. That's what I loved about this. This was focusing on your strengths and just becoming a better professional, a better version of yourself.
All right, and Maite?
So now I'd like this opportunity for you to kind of speak into the camera and share, your name, your company, what you do, and how can someone get a hold of you?
They include social media, website, email, the phone number.
All right. I am Mr. Buffone. That's how you could find me on social media, Instagram, for example. Just I am Mr. Buffone. I am the agency owner of SOAR Financial Group. We are hiring other insurance professionals. If you'd like to learn about how to grow a business, your own insurance practice, or you have any questions, I'm just a resource for the community. Sí, yo puedo hablar español. And I'm born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada. I went to UNLV. And I'm really excited about a project that we're working on. It's an application that we're creating with Promise Startups and TechStart at Nevada Partners. It's an application called On Track to Goals to help people stay on track to their financial goals, personal goals, and professional goals. So stay tuned. Brent Buffone, SOAR Financial Group. My phone number is 702-787-1756. And that would be the best way to get in touch with me.
All right.
And Brett, thank you for what you do in our community, and you make us proud, because seeing you for a long time and grow up, and now because father and a good husband, and you had a beautiful wife, a beautiful family, and that makes us proud, because we believe we have future in our community, thanks to professionals like you are. Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Maite. My name is Carlos Gomez, and thank you for listening. These Leaders, Latin Chamber of Commerce, Leaders in Action. And we'll see you next episode. Thank you.
Gracias. Y gracias a ustedes.
Yeah.
Yeah.